It's a beautiful 53-degree night here in Plymouth, Indiana, where we have a matchup between the South Central Satellites against the Plymouth Pilgrims. I'm Hansel Chu along with Dusty, and we're here with Reagan Sports Central Network, where athletes come first. And for South Central, their last game, they lost to Kankakee Valley 5-6, where they fell behind 2 runs to start out, but they had a 5-run sixth inning to help them get back into a 5-3 lead going to the seventh inning. However, Kankakee Valley scored 2 runs afterward in the seventh inning to tie the ball game up at 5-5, and going to extra innings in the eighth, Kankakee Valley scored the walk-off run to give them a 5-6 win. In that game, Tyler Carr for South Central had 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 RBI. Colin Ward also pitched in 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, and 4 strikeouts as well. But for Zach Hanchar, he struggled in that game. In those 2 innings pitched, he allowed 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 3 strikeouts as well. And for the opening game for South Central, they defeated Wheeler High School by 10-0, had a 6-run third inning to help them catapult to their win. And for Kellen Metheny, he had an RBI double on 1 hit. And for Gavin Gross, he went 2 for 2 at the base and 2 RBIs on 2 hits. And Colin Ward, a shutout game with 6 strikeouts in 4 innings played, along with 1 hit. And for Plymouth last game, they lost to South Bend St. Joseph 12-1. And for South Bend St. Joseph, 5 run innings in the second and third inning to help them propel the Indians to the win. And for Dusty, for South Central, how can they defeat Plymouth in this game?
I think they're gonna have to start strong. I think that if they get a really good start to this game, then they're gonna be able to play their game, and when they're playing their game, they're a pretty good ball team. And just as you said, South Central has started the season off pretty strong as of course they won their first 2 games and then had a heartbreaking loss just their last game in extras. So coming into this game, it kind of feels like they have the advantage. They have the momentum coming into this game, and they're facing a Plymouth team that is looking for their first win of the season. And so, yeah, I mean, I think South Central has a really good shot at going to 3-1 on the season.
Definitely. And for Plymouth again, they did lose pretty badly to South Bend St. Joseph 12-1. So for Plymouth, how can they come back and kind of respond after going down 12-1 in their last game?
Yeah, I mean, losses like those are they're kind of tough to come back from, but I mean I think that you got to kind of forget about that last game. You gotta almost have amnesia, as coming into this game. They gotta have a clear head and just treat it like it's like the first game of the season, and just try do whatever they can to get this win today against South Central.
Definitely. And for South Central again, 2-1 on the year. And we have the batting order ready for South Central. They're going to lead it off with Gavin Gross. That's leading at shortstop. Then the pitcher, Tommy Sullivan, who's going to get the start today. He's going to go up second. And third is going to be Bradley Farrell, who is playing the first baseman for South Central. As we're soon ready to start the game. And for Plymouth, they're wearing the whites today, and for South Central, they are wearing their baby blue. And again, a long, long season ahead for both of these teams. That's going to stretch all the way to the end of May 19th. And for both of these teams, it's early in the season. For you, Dusty, what are some keys that you could have for both of these teams? It's an early season. How can you continue to get wins and play consistent throughout the entire season?
Yeah, I mean, I think for South Central, they gotta really rely on their big bats. Of course, Bradley Farrell. He's been. I mean, it's only 3 games in, but he's been having a sensational season, batting a 571. But right behind him, he has two really good hitters in Billy Bird and Gavin Gross, each batting a 429 batting average thus far in the season. And also, those three players have the highest on base percentage. So I mean, those three are going to be really key for South Central to get this win today. But for Plymouth, I think that they really gotta to play their game. They are uh, kind of a small ball team at times, but they can also have power at the plate. So I mean, I think Plymouth is gonna have to mix in some strategies and yeah, I mean it's gonna be a really good game today.
Definitely. And for South Central, their starters for tonight. Again, Sullivan is going to take the mound tonight for South Central. And then you also have Jackson Boss that will start out at the catcher position. And the first baseman, again, is going to go to Farrell, Bradley Farrell, the junior. And second baseman is going to go to Tyler Carr, the junior, who's batting a 200 on the year. Then you also at the shortstop, you have Gavin Gross, who's again, like you talked about, Dusty, very, very strong start to the year, a 429 batting average as well. For the third baseman, you have Zach Hanchar, who again didn't have the best game last game, led up those big runs to the loss for South Central. Then in the backfield, we have Ward, that's going to start out at the center position, Colin Ward, along with Braden Grass at the right field position. And to round it all off, Callum Bethany will round up the left field for South Central. Again, the first pitch soon underway in this game between the South Central Satellites and the Plymouth Pilgrims.
Yeah, I mean it almost looked like they were ready to go, but I mean here we go as we see South Central taking the field.
And again, South Central wearing the baby blue today with the red helmets and arm sleeves. Plymouth wearing their whites today as they are at home taking on South Central. Again, Tommy Sullivan will get his first start today as the pitcher on the year averaging 286 batting average in those 7 base attempts. He also has 2 hits and 1 run as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Tommy Sullivan, he's really a two-way player. You see in the big leagues, players. I mean, uh, Shohei Ohtani is really the only one I can think of, but I mean he's a big player that can do both. He can pitch and he can also bat at the plate. And Tommy Sullivan is one of those players that can be a dual threat. As he can throw some really good pitches. He has a good arsenal as a pitcher, but he can also do damage at the plate. So Tommy Sullivan, is a really, really good dual threat for South Central.
Definitely. And again, also for South Central, their ace Colin Ward had a very spectacular game in their opening against Wheeler High School. Has a .78 ERA, 1 win on the year. Also accumulated 10 strikeouts on the year, allowing only 4 hits and 5 base on balls. So for Colin Ward, also playing really, really well for South Central, should be playing in this game as well as this time starting in the outfield for South Central. And again, other pitchers that also play a lot of different positions on this South Central team. You also have Braden Grass, who has a 4.5 ERA, has 5 strikeouts on the year, only pitched in 4.2 innings this year. But again, he will start out at right field for South Central. And for Zach Hanchar, 4.67 ERA on the year, has 1 loss, 5 strikeouts on the year in 3 innings pitched. For Zach Hanchar, though, he'll start out at third baseman uh, for South Central today. As
Yeah, and
again,
so
the first pitch
something.
soon. Oh yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, something interesting about Plymouth, is that they go by two names actually. I mean, they are called the Pilgrims, but I guess they also go by the Rockies. So
Interesting.
I'm not. Yeah, very interesting. I'm not really sure which one they want to go by today. What what would you think?
I think when looking online, looking at their the roster, it seems like the Plymouth Pilgrims are the team that's associated with these players. So I think for us, we're gonna call them the Pilgrims for today. Also fits with their name too, the Plymouth. For those history, those history teachers, the history nerds, Plymouth, Massachusetts, the pilgrims coming over from Europe. So I think fittingly we should call them the pilgrims for today.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they mainly go by the Pilgrims, but I guess the Rockies is kind of a second name for them, which is really interesting. I've never really seen that for a team.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially in a high school setting, the Rockies. You don't really see the Rockies being a name or a mascot in high school. The only Rockies that I've heard of is the Colorado Rockies in the MLB. So a very interesting a name for the Plymouth High School. And again, all music in this broadcast is not is just a disclaimer. All music here is not from this broadcast, so there's will be no copyright as well. Again, the South Central Satellites are up first in the pitching department, and the Plymouth Pilgrims will take up the bat first. Again, soon underway for the first pitch between the South Central Satellites and the Pilgrims.
Laporte's number one used car dealer, All Star Autos, is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network. All Star Autos specializes in high quality used vehicles and excellent customer service. You could say it's out of this world. They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and stress free as possible. You can view their inventory and apply for credit at allstarlaporte.com. They offer financial for everyone, have a large inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. So next time you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out All Star Autos, the regional no pressure dealer, and see why we're number one in used car dealers in LaPorte. And go Satellites!
As the Plymouth Pilgrims are set to also take the field as we see them in the back warming up. Okay, so while we're in this meantime in this stretch before the first pitch, let's talk about the MLB for a sec, Dusty. First couple of weeks already underway, and what are your thoughts about this MLB season so far? But more importantly, the new rules that have been implemented, such as the new pitch count, or excuse me, the pitch timer and like the batting timer. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I can see why they do it. Just because the past few seasons, the games have been, or I mean, probably since, the beginning, the games have been really long, 4 or 5 hour games. And so, they have done this because the games have just been too long. So they've been trying to shorten the games. And I mean, so you see now like games only last about like 2 hours, which in one view is a really good thing, but on the other side of things there has been a lot of players that have been getting called for the timers on each end, both pitching and hitting. And it's, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, especially like on Sports Center. Not sure if you watch Sports Center, but yeah, they they kind of show it on there, and it's like, wow, that's like kind of crazy, like these new rules. So I just think it's different, and it can be good for the sport, but also can be bad.
Yeah, for me personally, I do like it in the regular season. There's so many games in the regular season, over 150, 160 games, and when you start stacking those times together with the amount of time like the dead time they have between pitches, it really starts to add up between all of those games. So in the regular season, I really do like that pitch timer. It's really going to help speed up the games. But in the playoffs, though, hopefully, I do feel like they kind of put a pause on that because the playoffs is kind of a different atmosphere. It's a different story, and tensions are high in the playoffs. So with the pitch timer, especially if you put that in the playoffs, I feel like it's going to take away from that tension, the excitement, the build up for like when it comes down to those later games. I mean, saw in the World Baseball Classic too, no pitch timer, like every single pitch was like everyone was holding their breath, the tensions were high. So I feel like if you put a pause on that pitch timer in the playoffs, I feel like it's still going to be really really well for the playoffs. But in terms of the regular season, I like it. It's going to help speed up the games, especially with so much in the regular season.
Yeah, and I mean, uh, just like you said, I think it'd be better if they, um, I mean, it'd be better if they didn't have it in the postseason at all. But I mean, if they're gonna do it, just be more lenient about it, because I mean, like 2 hour games in the postseason, like you said, it doesn't let like enough build up in those games. So yeah, maybe more lenient if anything in the postseason.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, we saw it with another rule that was kind of changed a couple seasons back with the extra inning rule, where in the regular season they would have a person start out on the second baseman, try to speed up the in the extra inning periods. But in the playoffs, we've seen that once the playoffs start in the extra innings, it kind of resets. There's no extra base runners to start out. So if they kind of do something like that in the postseason, I feel like it would really help the viewers as well. It's still going to bring a lot of that excitement as we just talked about right now.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about this, I think that they could, pause it in the postseason, just like you said, they don't have the runner on second in the postseason in extra innings. So, there's a chance that they could not have it in the postseason, but I mean, I guess, only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. And what are your thoughts about some of these early teams so far? So some very early predictions. Who do you think is the favorite to win the World Series this year?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Atlanta Braves, and I mean they've gotten off to a hot start. I believe they're 6-1 right now. So I mean, the Braves were kind of a favorite to win last year. After winning the World Series the year before that. So I think that they're one of the favorites. Coming into the season so early in the season. But I mean, as a Yankees fan, I, I kind of gotta hope that we have a shot at it, especially with Aaron Judge, picking up right where he left off, and Giancarlo Stanton also kind of doing his part. That big duo right there. I think they have a really good shot at making it far in the postseason. But yeah, other teams would be, the Braves. Um, I mean, yeah, I think like the Brewers, they're looking kind of good. The Rays are one of the teams that, they might make it far in the postseason. But yeah, I think that, so far in the season, it's been a pretty eventful season so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Rays. I mean, haven't seen a loss from them right now. 6-0 so far, so they're off to a really great start. The Tampa Bay Rays, again, the Yankees right behind them as well, and the Astros. They're kind of going off from a rough start, 3-4 in their first 7 games. But I mean, the Astros are the Astros. They're the defending champs for a reason, and I do expect them to turn it around really, really soon. And again, the Atlanta Braves you talked about, really strong start, 6-1. For me, they look like my title contenders or my title favorites so far, the Atlanta Braves. And again, the Dodgers, they did lose some pretty big pieces in the offseason, but again, still really great. Still have Freddie Freeman and they're 5-2 right now. So I mean, those offseason losses doesn't really play too much of a big factor so far for the Dodgers to open up this year. And for
Yeah,
the
and so
Angels,
out of
yeah, go ahead.
curiosity, so do you have a team?
Me, I'm a LA guy, so the Angels
Okay.
are kind of my teams. But yeah, for me, I kind of lean toward the Angels. I think because I'm closer to the Angels at home. So
Yeah. So yeah, for the Angels, I mean that Otani Trout duo. I mean, if they can, you know, it's like really, get something going. I think they have a good shot at, not only making the playoffs but making, a potential run in the postseason.
oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, for the Angels, it's all about health. If they can stay healthy, I think that's going to be a big factor because they do have the pieces. But again, health has always been a factor for the Angels if they're able to uh, be consistent in the regular season and make the playoffs. And those were the starting lineups that was just announced earlier today. And the Star Spangled Banner just played. So our first pitch soon underway. Very anticipated matchup between the South Central Satellites and the Plymouth Pilgrims. And for the Plymouth Pilgrims, number 5, Ryan Jolly will start as the pitcher for the Pilgrims, the junior for the Plymouth High School Pilgrims. And for Plymouth as well, you also have the first baseman, Boston Berkeypile, the catcher with Evan Geese. Then the shortstop will be Preston Wolf. The second baseman will be Trey Delp, and the right fielder is going to be Caleb Bowling.
Hey, we're ready for the first pitch here on the night. On the mound for the Plymouth Pilgrims, it's Jolly. And the first pitch comes in. High
The
ball
first pitch
one.
is
That
up and
goes
high.
to
That is in for
Gross.
strike
Gross
one.
is the shortstop here this evening for the Satellites. We'll start things out now with one. Randy Wayne, glad you could join us here this
South
evening
Central is
for
in
baseball.
to
Here
hit
from Mission
first
Field.
as Jolly there
Here's the windup. The
for the
1
starting
0
pitcher.
pitch is outside
That
ball
one is
two.
outside for ball number
Two
one.
balls, no strikes. Little cool, but it's a great night.
Yeah, I
Sun's
think
still shining
Jolly is
down
gonna
on
have
the
to be
field,
kind of
so
aggressive
got
here
some
because it's not
cheerleading
really
right
good
here
for a
as
pitcher
try
to
to see a
fall
shadow
behind
down at
this
third
early in
base
the
spot.
game.
Here's the 2-0 pitch right now from Jolly.
Jolly, that was his inside. That'll be ball number 3. So 3-0 already for Jolly. Again, Gross at the bat to start out for the Satellites.
And not for Gross, it's really a hitter's count, so anything close.
As Jolly there takes a strike fastball down the middle. So 3-1 the count for Gavin Gross. 4.29 batting average on the year. Has 3 hits and 2 RBIs on the season. The pitch one's up high, and that'll take a walk. So first base on balls for Jolly, and Gavin Gross will take first base.
Yeah, and I mean for Jolly, it kind of feels like it's just nerves at the beginning of the game. Um, because yeah, those 4 balls and only 1 strike, so he needs to come back aggressive right here.
Gross looking to steal second, as Jolly there trying to tag him out on first base. Up is Tommy Sullivan, and that one is hit down the left side, and that one is popped up and caught. So that will take Gross back up to first base. So a fly out
Yeah,
for Tommy Sullivan on his first hit of the day.
yeah. Sullivan was able to put a charge into that one, but wasn't it just wasn't able to drop, and that's gonna be the first out of the inning.
Up next is Bradley Farrell, the first baseman, as Jolly checking up on Gross on the first base. For Bradley Farrell, 571 batting average on the year, so up to a blistering hot start, has 4 hits on the year, and that one is down low in for strike one.
Yeah, Farrell is one of the most dangerous hitters in this lineup. So I mean, this is not really the batter that you want to leave the ball like right over the plate with.
That one is struck as Gross tried to take up second, and he does get it safe, so a stolen base right there for Gavin Gross.
Yeah, Grosh just showing off the wheels right there and able to get a stolen base, the first of the game.
Bradley Farrell, the junior, again, 5 runs already in the season as 4 hits along with 1 RBI. That one's outside for a ball. Two, one to count. Jolly, that one is hit, and the throw to first gets it in time, but that one's wild out. So runners on the move. You have Farrell as well as Gross running, and I'll take Gross to third, and as well as Farrell to second.
Yeah, that one just getting away from the first baseman as wasn't able to see it, clearly, but kind of looks like it might have bounced and just out of the reach of the first baseman. So error on Plymouth allows the runners to get to second and third.
So runners in scoring position, only 1 out for the South Central Satellites. And the first one is down in for a strike. Jackson Boss right now on the plate. That one is sit down and out, and the throw to second is in time. So a double play right there gets him out and saves Plymouth from a dangerous scoring threat. It's right there, 1, 2, 3 out, and we'll take a short break as Tommy Sullivan up to the plate when we come back. As we're set to check back in, Tommy Sullivan up at the plate. Again, his first start today for Tommy Sullivan, the junior.
Yeah, and Tommy Sullivan as both a freshman and a sophomore. He was, a really good player for the South Central team now in his junior year. So, he has some experience under his belt. He has a couple pitches in his arsenal, but his pitch that he loves to go to is definitely his fastball. So Tommy Sullivan trying to keep Plymouth from scoring in the bottom of the first.
Up first, I believe, is Cohen Dion, the senior, as Sullivan's first pitch right down the middle for strike number one.
Yeah, and Sullivan's one of those pitchers that loves being aggressive and loves getting ahead of these batters.
Second pitch for Sullivan, that one is hit up in the air of foul, so that'll be 0-2 the count. And that's number 8, Trey Hall, in to hit right now for the Plymouth Pilgrims. 0-2 Sullivan, right down the middle, but they call it down low, so that'll be ball number 1 for Sullivan.
Yeah, it looks like that one was just off the plate. I mean, it might have been borderline, but the batter gets the call.
Sullivan, that one is down low for ball number 2. 2-2 Sullivan hits Hall on the pitch, so that will bring Hall to first base.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like that one just got away from Sullivan, as of course, you never want the leadoff to get on, but unfortunately hits the batter, and now we have a runner at first.
We'll try to keep him close. Sullivan checks it first. Now comes to the
Sullivan,
plate.
that one is inside.
Great stop that time by Boss to keep that from going away. Hall ready to
So
go down
up
to
for
second
the
base.
Plymouth
That thing got
Pilgrims, you have number
jammed.
5, Ryan Jolly.
1 ball, no strikes. Hall at first base. On a 5-step lead. There's a pitch from
Sullivan, that one is right outside, calls in for a strike. So 1-2 the count for Sullivan.
Yeah, and so pitcher on pitcher action right here, and Sullivan is ahead.
Sullivan, that one's outside for ball number 2. Two the count on Jolly. Sullivan, that one strike out. So first strikeout for Tommy Sullivan.
So it looks like it might have been 2-1. I'm thinking.
So it was 2-1. So now 2-2 the count for Sullivan.
And a stolen base here for Plymouth. So now with the runner in scoring position.
Sullivan third pitch. That one is hit down the middle. And that one is way far back and caught. That would get the runner to third base. So a flyout for Jolly, but that would bring up the runner number 8 for Plymouth all the way to third with 1 out.
Yeah, it looks like the center fielder just able to get to that pop up, and the runner for Plymouth able to reach third on the tag up.
That's going to bring up number 9, Cam Shively, to the plate. So 1 out for Plymouth. Sullivan's pitch is outside down low for ball number 1. Sullivan's second pitch got him on the strike. So it'll be 1-1 for Tommy Sullivan.
Yeah, really good pitch right there, able to get the batter to swing through it. And Sullivan is doing a really good job here on the mound thus far.
Again, Hall on third base itching to get to home to get the first run on the board. As Shively 1-1. Sullivan's pitch, that one is hit and foul.
Yeah, it looks like just a little bit in front of that one, as that one went foul.
So 1-2 the count for Cam Shively. Sullivan's pitch up high and hit. That one's going to ground out for a run for Hall. So a sacrifice ground out for Shively, but again that will bring in a run for Plymouth.
Yeah, a productive out right there, as able to get the runner home from third base, and Plymouth will take the early lead as they lead this one 1-0.
Up next for Plymouth, you have number 18 Matt Manzuk, and that one is set up high. That one's flying out to the right side, and that one is caught, or it does land in, and that one, or excuse me, yeah, that is caught, flied out, and that would end the inning. Plymouth gets the score from a ground out from Shively, and that will put him 1-0 to end the bottom of the first inning. And we'll take a break. For South Central, they have Hanchar, Grass, as well as Bird up next on the batting order. As we're back in it with Zach Hanchar in the box, and he'll take a opening strike for Hanchar. Ryan Jolly in that first inning did have a base on ball, but after that, very spectacular as that hit is foul for Hanchar. 0-2 the count, and Jolly's pitch is hit down, and that one's caught by the shortstop, and that'll get an easy out for the Plymouth Pilgrims.
And so, of course, Plymouth striking first. Let's see if South Central can even it up.
That ball hit his fly out, popped up in the air, and another out right there for Plymouth. So two quick outs for Jolly.
Yeah, and so Jolly making quick work of this South Central lineup as a quick 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the second.
Jolly's pitch is up high for ball number 1. Up on the mound is Billy Bird, the designated hitter, as Jolly got him swinging for strike number 1. Bird again also spectacular to start out the year. 429 batting average, has 3 hits and 2 RBIs in the first 3 games. Jolly's pitch down low for ball number 2. Bird has an OBP of 600 and an OPS of 1.171, so again spectacular to start out the year. 2-1 the count. Jolly's pitch got him swinging again for strike number 2. Seems like Bird checked his swing, so excuse the strike. It's 3-1 to count. Bird swung on the pitch. That one's off the mark foul, so it'll be a full count 3-2. Full count Jolly's pitch. That one's outside, and that would take a base on ball for Bird.
Yeah, and just a great eye right there for Bird. You know, full count and able to let that one go and able to reach first.
That will bring up Colin Ward up on the plate. That pitch is down for ball number 1. Again, 2 outs already for South Central. Jolly's pitch is down low again for ball number 2. Jolly got Ward to swing. That would get strike number 1. So the count 2-1 now for Colin Ward. Has a 3.33 batting average on the year. Has 1 hit.
Yeah, and for Colin Ward, I mean, you don't really want to swing for the fences right here. You want to try to, get one maybe in the gap, maybe try to tie this ball game up. But the main thing is to try to make contact in this at bat.
Ward playing different positions on this South Central team. A pitcher and now a center fielder. That pitch is in for a strike, so the count 2-2. 2-2 the count, with Bird eyeing the second base. That one is out to the right for a full count 3-2. For Ryan Jolly, already 2 walks already in this game. Right now faced with another full count. This pitch is out for another base on ball, or 2 walks in this inning for Ryan Jolly.
Yeah, now for Jolly, it was two up, 2 down. It was looking like it was gonna be 1-2-3 here for South Central, but South Central doing a good job of battling back, able to create 2 full counts in a row, and now after 2 base on balls, we have runners on first and second as South Central is threatening here in the top of the second.
That will bring up Kellen Metheny on the plate. Jolly's pitch is down low for again ball number 1. For Kellen Bethany, 200 batting average on the year. Has 10 base appearances, as well as 2 hits and 4 RBIs on the year. That one is in down the middle for a strike. So 1-1 the count for Bethany. Jolly's pitch is up high for ball number 2.
Yeah, and Callan Metheny, one of the best hitters in this lineup. So I mean, a really good chance for South Central to create a run right here.
Again, you have Bird as well as Ward on the bases right now. Bethany, that one is hit. That one's up in the air and foul. So that'll bring the count to 2-2, I believe.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of early in this ball game, but this is a great opportunity here for South Central, and you really want to capitalize on these opportunities.
That one is down low to the right for ball number 3. So again, like you just talked about, Dusty, Jolly looked really strong to start out this second inning, but right now has faced uh, three, three balls already in the last 3 batters. This last pitch is down low again for ball number 4, so that will give the bases loaded with Bird, Ward, as well as Bethany on the bases.
Yeah, now that's 3 walks here for Jolly, as you know, Jolly was kind of mowing through this top of the second, but now he's got into some trouble as he's now in a bases loaded jam as South Central looking to create some damage here in the second.
That would bring up Gavin Gross up once again, and in his last base appearance, he had a walk as well. Again, for
Yeah,
Plymouth
and
though, you only just need 1 out for them to retire this inning. But again, you also have a predicament with 3 runners on the bases.
yeah, I mean, you look at it, just 1 out away from getting out of this inning, but it feels like the momentum has just shifted to South Central here in the second.
So Gross is back up on the plate, and that one is hit foul, or did it get away from the pitcher? No strike indication from the umpire, so I believe that is ball number 1 for Gross. Second pitch down the middle called in for a strike.
Yeah, and so not only is it bases loaded here for South Central, but the leadoff batter is now up for the Satellites, and that's usually dangerous for an inning.
That one is pitched up high, so that's called for another ball to 1 the count. Again, you also have one of the premier hitters on this team up on the plate with the bases loaded with Gross. Gross's hit is up and foul.
Yeah, and as you said, one of the premier hitters in this lineup, as Gavin Gross having a pretty good season himself. This is kind of a golden opportunity here for South Central, and so let's see if they can get anything out of it.
2 strikes, 2 outs for South Central. That ball is up and high, so that will take it to a full count 3-2. Again, Jolly's been in this trouble already after those 2 outs. It has Bird on a full count as well as Ward. Those led to a walk. So for Jolly, hopefully one more strike will get it done to end this inning.
Yeah, and so now the third baseman coming over, trying to give some advice to the pitcher, and that brings up the catcher also to have a small meeting.
3-2 the count for Gross. Jolly's pitch. That one is hit. And does the ball land? The ball is caught for the out. So what a play right there from Plymouth to save the inning. Golden opportunity for the Satellites to get a run in with the bases loaded, but again, 2 outs and a save right there on the pop out. That would bring up to the bottom of the second, 1-0 still. The Plymouth on tops 1-0. As we're back into the game, Sullivan up on the mound with Boston Berkey Pile up on the plate. Sullivan's pitch is floated in for a curveball, ball number 1. Again, Plymouth able to escape a fully loaded base as Sullivan's pitch is down low to the right for ball number 2. Still a 1-0 game, Plymouth up on top. That ball in for a strike. So 2-1 the count for Berkey Pile.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was a huge momentum shift for Plymouth, as of course the bases were loaded. As that one gets away, and then Jolly just able to work out of it, and being able to work out of that, I think the momentum kind of shifted to Plymouth.
3-1 the count for Sullivan, and that pitch is hit and gets away and then out for the Satellites. Catch is made high, but is it
So
safe
that
or not?
that looks like it might have gone away a little bit.
The shortstop Grass was there to make the catch over to Farrell, but the throw was high and safe is the ruling for Berkey Pile.
Yeah, and so Grass, able to scoop that one up, but it looked like the throw was just a bit high for the first baseman, and that error is gonna allow Plymouth to get a runner on first.
And Sullivan hits the hitter that's going to be Caleb Bowling. So just like that, no outs on the board. First and second base occupy for the Plymouth Pilgrims.
Yeah, and for Sullivan, I mean that's not really the way you want to start off this inning. Able the first one able to get on with an error, and the second one getting on with a hit by pitch.
Up on the mound is, or up on the base is Preston Wolf. As that ball is hit, and that one's hit towards center field, and that is caught by the center fielder, Colin Ward. So that'll bring the first out of the inning for the Plymouth Pilgrims.
And a great bounce back there for Sullivan, able to get the first out of the inning, after having the first two get on.
Sullivan's pitch is down toward the middle, a little too low. That'll be called for a ball. Second pitch from Sullivan, that one is hit foul. On the plate is Evan Geese, the catcher for Plymouth. So 1-1 the count. Sullivan's throw is hit, and that ball is fumbled by the third baseman. So that will allow Geese to get on the base, but again, an out right there for the Plymouth.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like that one was just tapped to the third baseman because it looked like it took a little while to get to the third baseman, and then from there was able to scoop it up and tag the base for the second out of the inning.
So Berkey Pile gets called for an out on third base. That would bring Bowling up to second, as well as Geese up on first base.
Yeah, and going back to that last play, it was a great job there by the third baseman, able to um, tag the base.
Delp's hit is up and foul.
As of course, I know many people have seen some crazy things happen when you try and go tag the runner instead of making the easy play at the base. But just heads up play there for the third baseman.
Sullivan's pitch is hit, and that one is grounded out to grass, and that would be out for out number 3. So light work for Sullivan, gets the quick work for the Plymouth Pilgrims, and that'll bring up to the top of the third.
Every time.
As we're back to the top of the third inning, still a 1-0 game, Plymouth up 1-0. As Jolly first pitch is down the middle in for, I believe, a strike. Up on the plate is Tommy Sullivan. So again, another pitcher to pitcher action. That one is up high for a ball. That pitch is down low in for ball number 2, I believe. So 2-1 the count for Tommy Sullivan.
Yeah, and I mean Tommy Sullivan is one of those batters that has a lot of power. He can drive the ball. So I think Jolly, really has to be careful with this batter.
That one is called in for a strike. So I believe a full count right now for Tommy Sullivan, 3-2. Here's the pitch for Jolly. That one is up and out, and that's called in for another base on ball. So the fifth walk already for Ryan Jolly, and for Tommy Sullivan, he'll get up to first base.
And Jolly's been doing a really good job, here on the mound, but he's been giving up a lot of walks here early in this game.
That pitch is swung and missed. So strike number one for Bradley Farrell. Again, the best hitter on this team is Farrell with a 571 batting average. Has a team leading 4 hits on the year. Second pitch is down the middle but in for a ball. Sullivan creeping up to second. And the pitch is up high for ball number 3. So 3-0 the count for Bradley Farrell. And again, Jolly already has 5 walks on this game. It's on the top of the third. Still hasn't allowed a run yet, as this last pitch is up and over the top.
Yeah, and I mean, I said, Sullivan's, a dangerous hitter in this lineup, but after that, it doesn't get any easier as, Farrell, an even better hitter for South Central.
This pitch is in and called for another walk. So just like that, Sullivan moves up to second, Farrell up to first, and no outs on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, that is huge for South Central, as not able to, put any runs across thus far, but now they look like they're in business as they have both runner in scoring position and a runner at first.
Jackson Boss up on the plate tries to bunt it, and he does, but is called for a foul. Try to advance the runners with Sullivan and Farrell, but that one they're called for a foul, so that'll be strike number 1.
Yeah, and it looks like after getting the first two runners on, South Central trying to play some small ball here, trying to advance the runners.
Jolly's pitch is up on the inside, so that's called for ball number 1. So 1-1 the count for Boss, and that pitch is down the middle, called in for a strike.
Yeah, and if you're Jolly, I mean, you don't really want to walk the bases loaded to start off the inning. So I think that you really have to come back and, try to get some strikes on these batters.
So 2-1 the count. Jolly's pitch is up high, and that was a wild pitch that would advance the runners. So Sullivan moves up to third, and Farrell moves up to second. So just like that, both of these runners up in scoring position, threatening to score with no one out in the top of the third.
Yeah, talk about insult to injury as, of course, the first two walks to start off the inning, and now a wild pitch puts both runners in a scoring position.
Boss hits the ball toward the left side, and that one is landed fair, so that would bring in Sullivan. Or excuse me, that one went foul. Hard to see where the ball went, but it looked like the ball was hit in as you see Sullivan and Farrell running toward the home plate. But umpire ruled it foul. We'll go right back 3-2, or excuse me, 3-2 the count.
Yeah, it looks like that one hit kind of right down the line and then just drifted to the left and was just foul.
Full count. Boss hits it once again, and this one lands fair. That'll bring in Sullivan, and Farrell will tag up at third. So an RBI right there brings in Sullivan, ties the game up 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, just great at bat there for Boss. At the beginning of that at bat, they gave him the sign to bunt. Of course, that didn't work out, but it didn't really matter because of the wild pitch that allowed both runners to get in scoring position, and then Boss was able to rope one into left and tie this ball game up at 1.
So the coaches will have a talk with Jolly. And again, no outs still for South Central. You have Farrell on third and Boss on first. And that'll bring up Zach Hanchar up onto the plate. Again, great job to Boss right there. Full count on the line. And right there being composed and able to get that hit in, gets the RBI and ties the game up at 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great at bat. It's kind of looking like Jolly was gonna be able to get the first out of the inning, but Boss just kind of stayed with it, even after that foul ball that barely went foul, and was able to get that one into left field and get the runner from third in for the first run of the game. And looks like we will have a pitching change for the Pilgrims. Yeah, and so not too sure who is on the mound right now, but maybe Josh can get that to us.
Again, 1-1 is the score. And just to play right before Boss gets a clean base hit, brings in Sullivan to score. And that'll also bring Farrell to third base. Again, no outs still for the South Central Satellites.
Bowling getting ready to be in the windup here.
So Caleb Bowling in, subbing in for Ryan Jolly. So that would end his afternoon.
Yeah, and I mean it kind of looked like Jolly was gonna be able to have a strong game here today, but South Central just came in here in the third inning, and they had some really good at bats, had some walks, and was able to knock Jolly out of this game.
So in 2 innings pitched for Jolly has 6 walks already, and that wild pitch brings over to Boss on second base. So again, no outs still, and Farrell on third, Boss into second.
And yeah, Hansel, so yet again, a wild pitch able to get the runner over. Now runners in scoring position again.
That ball is in for a strike down the middle. So 1-1 the count for South Central. You have Braden Grass at the plate for the Satellites. That pitch floats in toward the middle, in for another strike. So 1-2 the count for Braden Grass. You get no outs, runners in third and second. 1-2 the count. The pitch is in and in for a ball. Brings it up to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again, still no outs for the Satellites. The pitch is hit, and that one is caught. Oh, what a play! In for first and gets him out. So that'll bring in Farrell to score, and moves Boss to third, but gets the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and I mean, great play, but right there by the third baseman, not waiting on that one, because I think if he waited on that one, he definitely wouldn't have been able to get the runner out at first, able to charge it and get the out at first.
That base is hit foul. Billy Bird on the plate for the Satellites. That ball is outside down low for ball number 1. So I believe 2-1 is the score right now with Boss in third base. That ball is inside, called in for a strike. So the count is 1-2 for Bird.
Yeah, and so coming into this inning, South Central not able to get any runs, but having a really good inning thus far and able to take the lead 2-1.
Bowling's pitch is hit in for a strike, and that'll be the first strikeout of the night for Caleb Bowling. And that'll bring up Colin Ward up to the plate. Browning's first pitch in for a strike.
Yeah, and so the potential for South Central to have a huge inning just kind of vanishes after Bowling doing a good job of getting 2 outs in the inning.
That one, another strike as well, got Colin Ward to swing. So just like that, 0-2 the count for Ward. 2 outs has Boss on third, looking to score. 0-2 the count. Browning's pitch hit fair, and that one finds a seam, and that gets called for an out right there. Gets it to the first base, and that'll take us to the middle of the third. 2 runs in on top of the third, as the Satellites getting the lead 2-1. As we're due to check back for the bottom of the third. What a great offensive sequence for the Satellites in the top of the third. Got 2 runs on the board. And Sullivan up on the mound. His first pitch is up out on the right for ball number 1.
Yeah, and so now Sullivan pitching with the lead. He can get a little more comfortable on the mound, but that one just gets away.
And that one is inside for another ball. Trey Hall up on the plate for Plymouth. Sullivan's pitch down low. That's 4 straight walks, and that will put Hall up on first base. So the third walk already for Tommy Sullivan in the ball game.
Yeah, and just a bad sequence there for Sullivan, as I mean he's been pretty good this whole game. But just right there wasn't really able to find the strike zone, and as he tries to with this next batter.
That would bring up Ryan Jolly up on the plate. First pitch is inside and wild pitch that would bring Hall racing to second base. So just like that, another stolen base for Trey Hall. I believe that's his second already in this ball game. Bottom of the third, Satellites up 2-1. 1-0 to count Sullivan. The pitch is hit by Jolly. That one is races in, and that would bring in first base. First base for Jolly, Hall up to third, with no outs on the board. And I'll bring up Cam Shively up onto the plate, looking to score in to tie the ball game up.
Yeah, and so now after South Central having a big inning, looks like Plymouth is threatening to have a huge inning of their own.
Shively up at bat. First pitch is up over the top to the left side, and a ball right there for Sullivan. Second one goes outside, and Jolly races to second base. So that will bring both of those scores in scoring position with Jolly up on second, as well as Hall on third. That one is hit. That one's up to the shortstop. That one get to first base. That will get him out, but then Hall will race in to score to tie the ball game up at 2-2. So a sacrifice ground out for Shively ties the ball game 2-2.
Yeah, and so Plymouth, able to tie this ball game up, but great job there by Grass, able to look the runner back to second and then get the sure out at first base.
So the first out on the board for Plymouth. Sullivan throws, and that one is foul. That is Manzuk on the plate. Again, Jolly on second base, one out. Manzuk, that ball is hit up and foul, so that'll bring up two strikes on Manzuk. Oh, to the count for Sullivan. The pitch is hit by Manzuk. That one is fly towards center field, and that one is caught. So two straight outs for Plymouth. So after the score right there in the early parts of the bottom of the third, two straight outs and one more to retire the inning. That'll bring up Boston Berkey up to bat.
Yeah, and I mean, great job there by Sullivan, able to keep composure and able to get two outs here in the third inning.
That one is in for a strike for Sullivan. Second pitch from Sullivan floats it in for another strike. So 0-2 the count for Berkey. That ball is hit towards center field. Can Ward make the play? And I don't know if he did right there. I think the
It
ball
looks like
landed right there, and it's called in safe, and that will bring in another run for Plymouth.
Yeah, it looks like that one went right under the glove of the shortstop, and that allows to get the run home for Plymouth, and the Pilgrims will take the lead right back here in the bottom of the third.
So 2 outs on the board, but again another run in, so the score 2-3 now, and that ball is hit foul by Caleb Bowling.
Yeah, and I mean in baseball, errors are a huge part of the game, and I mean usually the team with the least amount of errors wins the ball game. And that was just a huge error there for South Central.
So 3-2 for Plymouth, 2 outs still for the Pilgrims. Sullivan's pitch, that one is hit, and that one gets away and down in for another base hit. So back-to-back base hits given up by Sullivan. Now put up runners up on second and first with 2 outs left, or excuse me, 1 out left in the inning. Sullivan pitch is outside down low for ball number 1. Preston Wolf on the plate. And Boss and Sullivan will have a talk momentarily, trying to talk about what pitch to throw and try to get them out the inning. So 2 runs already allowed for Sullivan in the bottom of the third. After the top of the third, the Satellites scored 2 to take the lead 2-1. Sullivan's pitch is down low for ball number 2.
Yeah, and I think this ball game is most likely going to go back and forth just like it has here in this inning.
Sullivan's pitch is in for a strike down the middle. So 2-1 the count for Sullivan. Pitch is thrown inside for ball number 3. So 3-1 the count. One more ball will put runners on all bases. Again, 2 outs, so just one more out needed for South Central. That ball is down in for a strike, gets it to a full count.
Yeah, good pitch right there for Sullivan, as able to catch the inside corner.
Sullivan's pitch, that one is hit, and that one goes foul for Wolf. So that'll put the runners back on second and first. Again, full count still for Preston Wolf.
Yeah, and as you've seen, both the runners on the move. So let's see if Sullivan can get out of this.
That one is inside for ball number 4, and the bases are loaded for Tommy Sullivan. Again, 2 outs. So just need one more for the Satellites to get out of this inning. But again, the bases are loaded with hits and walks for Sullivan. That ball is hit, and that one finds a gap inside and brings in another run for Plymouth. Or that one gets called for, I believe, caught. So that one retires the inning 3-2 Plymouth. 2 runs scored in the bottom of the third as we go to the top of the fourth. So the top of the fourth, 2 runs scored in the bottom of the third for Plymouth gives them the lead right back after the Satellites' last inning scored 2 runs to take the lead. As the ball goes inside for ball number 1 for bowling. So Ryan Jolly got the start for Plymouth, but in 2 innings pitched, already had 6 walks and 2 hits. Bowling comes in the third inning, gets it to retires the inning, and again the Satellites gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the third. That brings up to where we are now on the top of the fourth, with still a 1 run lead for Plymouth. That pitch is up down the middle, called for a ball. That ball called in for a strike. So I believe the count is 2-2 now, with Ward up on the plate. This pitch is hit by Ward. That one is popped up and foul.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a great job there by Bowling, able to come in for Jolly, who allowed 2 runs and then get out of that inning. Let's see if he can do the same in this inning.
That one is curved in and called for a ball, so that will put Ward up on first base with the walk.
Yeah, just a great eye there by Ward. I mean, it was a full count, so some of those pitches are hard to lay off of. Was able to lay off of that one, and now the leadoff will get on.
Callum Bethany up on the plate to hit. Bowling with the only strikeout between all of the pitchers in this game so far. Bowling's pitch is in down the middle, and that one's called for a ball. Curved it in. Kind of looked like a strike from our angle, but the umpires thought differently.
Yeah, it looks like that one just barely was on the outside, not called a strike.
That one gets away from the pitcher. That would bring up the Ward up to second base.
Yeah, and I mean, it looked like the runner was already going. So um the hit off the catcher was able to let the runner get into second, no contest.
Bowling's pitch is in. That one is called outside, so ball number 3 for Bowling.
Yeah, and it looks like Bowling has been trying to hammer that outside part of the plate. Just unfortunately not getting any of these calls, and now quickly goes to a 3-0 count.
That one is in toward the middle, and that one just inside called for another ball, so back-to-back walks for Bowling. Puts Ward on second as well as Bethany up on first base. No outs, and that'll bring in Gavin Gross.
Yeah, and coming into this game, I kind of thought that it might be a pitcher's duel, but it looks like that is not the case, as both sides able to get on the bases, and get some runs in.
Wild pitch right there moves the runners up a spot. So now Ward will go up to third base and Bethany up to second. Again, no outs still, and Gavin Gross up on the plate. In his 2 appearances, a pop out and a walk. Again, 4.29 batting average on the year, has 2 RBIs and 3 hits. Here's the pitch for Browning, and that one is hit toward the third baseman. Throw to first is in time, so that out right there for Gross, but brings in the score right there. That is Ward in for the run. So one up, one out on the board for the Satellites. Bethany moves over to third base, and that will bring in Tommy Sullivan up on the plate. Sullivan hits the ball. That one lands fair, and another base hit brings in another score for the Satellites. So just like that, 4-3, Satellites up by one. Bethany comes in to
Yeah,
score.
and Sullivan doing a great job of keeping his hands in on that one, able to drive that pitch, and now the Satellites get a two spot of their own. They take the lead 4-3, and they're not done yet.
Only one out on the board brings in Bradley Farrell up on the plate. Farrell pops it up, and that one's called foul. So Sullivan on first, Farrell right now on the base. In those two base appearances, has a hit as well as a walk. Bowling tries to tag Sullivan on first base. That one is caught in a kind of a wild pitch. The catcher couldn't hold it securely, and that would bring in Sullivan racing for second base.
Yeah, it looks like that one just popped out of the glove of the catcher, and Sullivan takes advantage, and now South Central will have a runner in scoring position.
Still one out. The pitch is hit. That one lands fair once again, but then that one is quickly caught out. So a ground out right there for Farrell moves in Sullivan to third base with two outs on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, just a productive out right there. You kind of want to get on base and not have the out, but a productive out is just as good as a sacrifice, as the runner is now in third.
That'll bring in Jackson Boss on the plate. That one's a wild pitch. Racing for the home plate is Sullivan, and he gets there. So a wild pitch results in another score for the Satellites. That'll bring the score to 5-3.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of wild pitches in this game. Not only with no runners on the base paths, but also with some runners in scoring positions, and none more critical than that one, as that allows South Central to get another run, and now they're at 5-3.
3 runs in the top of the fourth for the Satellites. Gives them a 2-run cushion so far in the fourth inning. That base is hit foul for Boss. Has an RBI in this game for Jackson Boss, the catcher. A junior with a 250 batting average. 0 runs in this season, has 2 hits and again an RBI so far. Bowling's pitch is inside for another ball. Two outs on the board for South Central as Bowling's pitch floats it inside down low for a strike. So that'll bring it to, I believe, a full count 3-2. Here's the pitch for Bowling. That one is up high, and that's another walk for Bowling. That would advance Boss to first base. And that'll bring in Zach Hanchar up to the plate.
Yeah, and this is what kind of happened for Jolly, as he unfortunately had two runners on base due to base on balls, and then South Central got a rally going, and so it's kind of happening for Bowling as well.
Racing to second, that pitch and ball not thrown in time, and another stolen base, and another one. That one's thrown off the mark. And can he get it again? This time is safe. Wow, what a play from Boss. He's just running all over the field right now and just advanced all the way to third.
Yeah, it looks like the throw just got away from the catcher, as that one went right over the second baseman, and Boss wisely able to get down to third base on the pass ball.
Boss moves from Jackson Boss using the wheels to get all the way to third, and just like that, in scoring position for South Central. You're getting Zach Hancher up on the bat right now for South Central, looking to get in another score. Here's the pitch from Bowling. That ball is hit up and foul. That'll bring in, I believe, strike number 2.
Yeah, and that's why walks can be so crucial because at the time they don't seem to, cause so much harm, but just like that, Boss is able to get to third base on an error.
That ball tipped foul for Hanchar. Again, 3 runs scored in this top of the fourth for South Central. 2 outs so far. And Plymouth right now looking to get one more out to retire this inning. Here's the pitch from Bowling. That ball is up high. And that's another ball for Plymouth.
Yeah, and so it looks like it's not Boss at third base. Looks like it's a pinch runner in Eaton.
So the ball is hit, and that one it lands fine through the gap. So what a hit right there from Hanchar, brings in another run for South Central. Just like that, it's a 6-3 game in the top of the fourth. Another RBI right there for Hanchar.
Yeah, Hanchar able to get some good wood on that one, right back up the middle, and Nolan Eaton will come in to score for the fourth run of this fourth inning for South Central.
Bowling's pitch inside called for a ball as Braden Grass up on the plate right now. Second pitch from Bowling, that one is off, and that one goes in, and that one is another out right there. So you have Hanchar trying to run for second base, trying to steal it, and this time the pitch is just in time, gets it for an out. 4 runs scored in the top of the fourth for South Central, has a 6-3 lead over Plymouth. As we approach the bottom of the fourth, a 4-run inning for South Central in the top of the fourth brings it to a 6-3 game. As that ball is hit down the middle, all the way in, and that one lands fair. Racing to second is Plymouth, and that one he's still racing, going up to third. Can he get there? Slides in and gets it. What a play right there for Plymouth, just like that. has a runner in scoring position on third base with no outs.
Yeah, able to barrel up that one to the gap. Looked like out in right center, and able to get a lead off triple for the Pilgrims.
I believe that is Evan Geese with that triple. As Sullivan's pitch, gets what a play right there. Gets it to third base, throw it to home, and right there in trouble. They're moving the ball around, and that one gets tagged for an out. However, that will move in Hall all the way to second base as Geets gets
Yeah,
called for an out.
yeah, heads up play there by Sullivan. Not going to first base with that one. Looked like he pump faked and then turned over to third base to get the runner trying to score home.
The pitch is hit, and that one is flying all the way to the left side, and I believe that's called in foul. So Ryan Jolly, I believe, up on the plate right now.
Yeah, it looks like the left fielder was. Oh, it looks like it might have been caught. Or maybe it might have been foul.
Yeah, I think the ball landed foul. That will still put Jolly up on the plate. That ball is hit, I believe, foul once again, or a strike.
Yeah, so now Sullivan, two quick strikes here on Jolly, uh, trying to get the second out of the inning.
Here's the pitch, and that one is popped up in the air, foul once again. And again, you have Trey Hall on second base right now after that chaotic play to get Geese out with the out. Sullivan's pitch is this time is hit, and couldn't get it away. The ball goes out, and scoring home is Hall, and sliding into second is Jolly. So just like that, another score on the board for Plymouth. 6-4 is the score. Gets the run in from Hall.
Yeah, just a key hit, right there up the middle for the Pilgrims, as there was that first out of the inning, but able to get a RBI and make this game 6-4.
That ball is curved into the middle for a strike with Cam Shively up on the plate. Sullivan, hits him on the head, on the helmet, and that will put him on the base. So you have Shively up on first as well as Jolly up on second. So maybe a pitching change right there. Sullivan and the coaches huddle together on the mound.
Yeah, and I mean, after South Central went and doubled up to Pilgrims, it was a great job by Plymouth to get a run here in the bottom of the fourth, and it looks like they might have knocked out Sullivan from this game.
6-4 is the score on the bottom of the fourth. As Sullivan still taking the mound.
Yeah, so interesting choice right there for South Central, as they're gonna ride this one out with Tommy Sullivan and see if he can get out of this jam.
Has allowed 8 hits on the game so far. 1 out with runners on first and second. Sullivan gets in for strike number 1.
Yeah, and great start there for Sullivan, able to stay aggressive and get that one on the outside corner.
Second pitch, that one is set up the middle, gets away from the defenders, and that will move runners in. That's Jolly racing for a home, and he gets there. That will bring in closer for Plymouth 6-5. So another RBI right there for Manzuk.
Yeah, and if you like runs, folks, this is the game for you as both teams able to make some good contact off of these pitchers, and yet another run coming across, and now this is a one-run ball game.
Berkey pile up on the bat. This one takes in for strike number 1. So you have Manzuk on first. The pitch is struck out for strike number 2. So 0-2 the count for Boston. Berkey pile has 2 hits in this ball game. Oh, to the count. The pitch is in and down low for ball number 1. Again,
Yeah,
6-5
it looks
is
like
the score.
yeah, and it looks like that one might have been a changeup there for Sullivan, but that one it just rides low.
Pitch is outside. That's another wild pitch and racing for home or is stopped by the third baseman. So runners advance to third and second for Plymouth. Again, still 1 out. So still a long way to go for the Satellites to retire this inning. So in the case for both pitchers from both South Central and Plymouth, a lot of wild pitches resulting in advancements on bases and even scores. 1-2 the count for
Yeah,
Sullivan.
it's
That
been a
one is hit.
really tough.
And Berkey Powell, that one is flied out. That one is caught, so that's another out. Racing for a home. Can he get there? And he does. Another run batted in and ties the game up at 6.
Yeah, and I mean, looks like he might have got him there at home as, it looked like contact was made. I mean, not sure if I don't think they have review there, but I mean that looks like it might have been out there at home.
Refs signaled safe, but I do agree with you. I think the catcher got there first, tagged him for out, but I think just like that, the game is tied at 6 if the referees do not change their call.
Yeah, I mean, just a tough call there for South Central. But like you said, this game is now tied up at 6.
That pitch is down inside for ball number 1 with Caleb bowling up on the plate. So Mansuk now in scoring position in third. This pitch is hit, and that one is drove in for a pop out. So just like that, this game is tied at 6 apiece going to the top of the 5th. And a 3-run inning from Plymouth. We'll see we have a tied ball game 6-6.
LaPorte's #1 used car dealer, All Star Autos, is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network. All Star Autos specializes in high quality used vehicles and excellent customer service. You could say it's out of this world. They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and stress-free as possible. You can view their inventory and apply for credit at allstarlaporte.com. They offer financial for everyone, have a large inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs.
As we approach the top of the fifth, this game is tied 6-6, as that hit is foul for South Central. That's number 10, Braden Grass. So Caleb Bowling still in this game, as a 3-run inning for Plymouth ties the game at 6, and a 4-run inning from the Satellites in the fourth inning. And here we are, both teams 6 runs apiece. This pitch is down low, called in for a strike.
Yeah, Hansel, and I mean, I kind of predicted this, as I said it could go back and forth, with this game, and it definitely has,
I mean,
as
here we are, yeah,
momentum.
tied ball game.
Yeah, definitely momentum going back and forth between teams, and now it's all knotted up at 6 in the fifth.
A strikeout right there got Grass to look on that one, and that's the second strikeout for Caleb Bowling. So that'll bring up Billy Bird, and that one is in for a ball. For Bird, he has a walk and a strikeout as well in 2 plate appearances. This one is foul again, so 1-1 the count. So for Caleb Bowling, doing a much better job right now, has 2 strikeouts, did give up a wild pitch and some runs, but right now seems very controlled and trying to get a 1-2-3 innings right now for Plymouth.
Yeah, and both pitchers have been having a hard time today as that one misses, or looks like they're gonna call a strike on that one.
That one slowly curved in. I thought it was a little low, but again, the umpires called in for a strike, so that'll bring it a 1-2 count. 1-2 the count for Bird. And here's the pitch. That one is popped up, and is it in fair? I believe that's called foul. So that'll bring Bird back to home.
But both of these pitchers have been, allowing a lot of walks, and not only that, but a lot of hits in this game. And each side has 6 runs in this game.
That ball is hit toward fair, and that's through the middle in for a base hit for Bird. So he gets his first hit of the night, and that'll bring in up to first base with 1 out on the board.
Yeah, Bird was kind of struggling in this game thus far, but able to stay with it and able to get a hit to lead off the inning.
That'll bring in Colin Ward, has 2 walks and a ground out in 3 plate appearances so far in this game. The first pitch from Bowling, that one is tipped foul. For Caleb Bowling, has only allowed 2 hits, but also has 3 walks and a wild pitch, and 2 strikeouts. That one is tipped toward the middle. That one is in, and couldn't hold it correctly, and that'll bring in safe. So the shortstop was there for Plymouth, but couldn't make the double play, and just like that, no out gets gets the runner to second and to first, and that will bring in Caleb Metheny.
Yeah, and I mean that one was one of those where it was like a slow roller, and by the time it got to the second baseman, it was already too late to throw that to try to throw him out at second.
That one is way out to the right, called in for a ball.
Yeah, guys, Matheny in this very important spot. Matheny with 2 on.
Runners at first, runners at second. And again, the shortstop there could have made a double play, but again, the ball just wasn't fast enough to get to him, and that'll bring in 2 runners on the board. That one gets dropped down low for ball number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, in that situation, if you're the second baseman, you kind of have to charge that one because, just like it happened there, you wait on it, and then you're not able to get anybody out.
Got him swinging on that one, called him for strike number 1. So 2-1 the count for Callum Metheny, has 2 walks so far in this game. Here's the pitch from Bowling. That one is caught strike again. So got him swinging back to back. And just like that, it's 2-2 the count.
Both teams with 6 runs, 4 hits. Satellites with 3.
Yeah, there. Matheny is struggling during this at bat.
So 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch. That one is caught and foul. So that'll bring Metheny back up to the plate. Still 2-2. Again, both teams have scored 6 runs so far throughout this game. As we're in the top of the 5th, Metheny looking to bring the runners home. That pitch is hit by Metheny. That one is popped out to the right side, and I believe it lands fair. So that will bring in a score in for the Satellites.
Yeah, great hit there by Metheny, able to rope that one out to right field, get the runners to third, and able to bring the go-ahead run home.
So Billy Bird in to score, and that'll bring in Colin Ward up to third and Metheny up to first. So another RBI in for Metheny. And most importantly, brings the Satellites up 7-6 in the top of the 5th.
Matheny.
And Gavin Gross up on the plate once again.
I guess you can
pop out a walk and also a sacrifice ground out as well. Tries to butt his way in, and that was
swung on into center field. Hall going back, makes the catch. He left early.
Metheny there racing for a second, gets the stolen base. So just like that, runners on second and third. Here's Gross at bat, and here's the pitch from Bowling. The ball is hit up well into the air. This one is popped up, and I believe is caught. So that will bring in a score that is Ward into score. So that will move players up 1 spot, but again, a sacrifice fly out there from Gavin Gross.
Yeah, really good job there by Gross, able to get that one just deep enough for both the runners to advance, and now South Central extends their lead to 2.
Metheny up to third, and that ball is outside in for ball number 1. Tommy Sullivan up on the plate, where he has a flyout, a walk, and an RBI hit. The pitch from Bowling is inside, called in for a strike.
Yeah, and so Sullivan has not gone down looking. He's either made contact or walked in this game.
The pitch from Bowling, this one is hit. That one out to the shortstop, and he fumbled the ball, so he couldn't get into first base. That brings in another run. That is Metheny in to score, and an error right there from the shortstop brings it to a 9-6 lead for the Satellites.
Yeah, and that's just another error there for the Pilgrims, as errors have been really costly for this Plymouth team. And so that allows South Central to bring in another run. It is now 9-6.
The second RBI for Tommy Sullivan. And that'll bring in Bradley Farrell up on the plate. The pitch to first base, trying to check Sullivan. For Bradley Farrell has a hit, a ground out, and a walk as well. So 2 outs in the top of the fifth. Satellites up 9-6. Got him swinging, and that's in for a strike. The pitch toward the second base is in for an out. So another great play from the catcher to get another out from the stolen base, and that'll bring us to the middle of the fifth. 9-6 lead, 3 runs scored for South Central as we go into the bottom of the fifth. As we're back to the bottom of the fifth, a 9-6 lead for the Satellites, as that ball is in, out, and foul. Called for a ball. So Tommy Sullivan's still in this game. A 3-run inning for South Central. Puts him up 9-6. That ball is hit and bobbled by Sullivan. Can he get it to first? And he does. So what a play right there from Sullivan. Gets the batter out. And that's 1 out on the board for Plymouth.
Yeah, and a great start there for Sullivan. South Central able to get the bats going in the top of the inning, and now in the bottom of the inning, there's already 1 out for South Central.
So that'll bring in and a ball down low for Sullivan. Evan Geese up on the plate had a triple last inning to start out. Second pitch from Sullivan is in for a strike just outside, but gets called.
Yeah, and these are crucial innings for both teams as, we're getting late in this game. And so if Sullivan can, keep Plymouth from scoring any more runs, that'd be a really good job there for Sullivan.
So that ball is hit out and foul, will bring the count to 1-2. That pitch is up, in, and in for a strikeout. So what a play from Sullivan. 2 up, 2 down for Sullivan. Gets his first strikeout of the ball game.
Yeah, and so Sullivan has been making quick work of the Pilgrims after Plymouth has gotten base runners in almost every inning in this game.
Sullivan's pitch is in and called for a strike. So Sullivan right now is starting to get into a rhythm. Second pitch from Sullivan is out on left, and that's called in for a ball. 1-1 the count for Sullivan. That ball is tipped up and in the air, and I believe that's foul as well. So 1-2 the count for Caden Milliser for Plymouth. The lefty hitter going against Sullivan. This pitch is in, and that's called too much inside, so another ball right there for Tommy Sullivan. Brings the count at 2-2. Trying to go 1-2-3 inning is Tommy Sullivan, and here's the pitch. The pitch inside and gets called for a strike. So what a play right there! Back-to-back strikes from Tommy Sullivan, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for the Plymouth.
Yeah, and I mean, just a great job there by Sullivan, able to get the 3 up, 3 down as we go to the 6th.
Berkey pile coming up here to face Farrell.
So Boston Berkey Powell in for Plymouth, as Caleb Bowling is done for the night. In 4 innings pitch, has two strikeouts and a couple of hits and walks. As Berkey Powell's first pitch is up on the left and a ball.
Yeah, and both of the first 2 pitchers for Plymouth just allowing South Central to get around the bases, and they give up a 9 spot combined.
That ball is hit foul. So bring up the count to 1-1. On the mound or on the plate is Bradley Farrell, and that ball is down inside for ball number 2. So 2 on the count. Here's the pitch, and that one is in for a strike. So 2-2 the count for Boston Berkey Pile. played first baseman earlier today, has now moved over to the pitching.
And Berkey Powell has a couple of pitches of his own. He has a really good fastball. He also has a changeup and a curveball that he likes to hit the outside corner with.
Here's the pitch, and this ball is up down the middle. Can the shortstop get there? He can't, and that will land in for another base hit. So second hit of the night for Bradley Farrell, and I'll put him on first.
Yeah, Bradley Farrell able to make some good contact with that one. That one goes right up the middle, and the leadoff on for South Central.
Jackson Boss now up to hit, has a RBI in this game as well as a walk. And again, 3 runs scored in the 5th inning for South Central, and the first pitch is down low in for a ball. And a 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Sullivan in the bottom of the 5th. Retired the inning shortly, and a 3-run lead for South Central, looking to extend it in the top of the 6th. Here's a throw from Berkey Powell. That one is up, and they call him for a strike. So 1-1 the count for Jackson Boss.
And so none of the Plymouth pitchers have been able to keep the Satellites from scoring. Let's see if Berkey Pile can do any different.
Racing to second is Farrell, and he does get there safe. So another stolen base for the Satellites.
Yeah, and it looks like that throw just a little bit late, and Farrell is able to get to second.
So runner on second in scoring position is Farrell. And here's the pitch from Berkey Pile. The pitch is inside, called in for a ball. So I believe the count is now 2-1, or excuse me, 3-1. Again, no outs so far. A 3-run lead for the Satellites in the top of the 6th. The pitch from Berkey Powell, that ball is hit up and in the air. And that one is fouled off, getting caught, so that'll be an out right there. The first out of the inning for the Satellites.
And great job there by Berkey Powell. He fell behind in the count, had 3 balls on him, but able to get the foul out.
That'll bring in Zach Hanchar, who has 2 walks, or excuse me, has an RBI hit in this game as well as a ground out. That one is inside, and a wild pitch right there moves Boss over to third. Or excuse me, that one is Farrell, excuse me, on base, so he's up onto third looking to score with 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, heads up base running there by Farrell, as that one got away from the catcher, and Bradley able to get to third base.
Here's a pitch from Berkey Powell. That one is hit and fouled. So 1-1 to count for Hanchar. Again, has an RBI in this game as well as a ground out. Has a 100 batting average on the year, but also has 3 RBIs as well. That one is bunted. Can he get there? The pitch to first. And I'm not sure if it's safe or not, but that brings in a run for South Central.
And it looks like
Hard to
looks
see
like they
from our
might have.
angle.
Yeah, it looks like they might have gotten there to first. I mean, if we could maybe get the camera a little bit to the right.
but nonetheless a
Six.
score in
One run already.
as Farrell runs into the base. So he gets in the
Throws
run, and it's a 10-6 lead.
time. Ball was pretty deep
So
into
indeed he
the
does get there.
shortstop.
So 2 outs on
Great
the
job
board,
getting
a
that.
sacrifice ground out.
Yeah, I mean, just a great execution there for Hanchar.
Billy
And
Bird.
that ball is in, and can get to first, and he doesn't get there in time, so it's safe right there. And that's another hit for Brandon Grass.
Stretch.
Yeah, and so after
Runner
the
goes.
great execution there for Hanchar, able to get the sacrifice,
Bird is on.
now a runner at first base for South Central as they look to pile some more runs on.
Satellite.
Next batter for the Satellites, number 5, Colin Ward.
Ward, the
So
batter.
4-run cushion for the Satellites. As Colin Ward up on the plate has 2 walks, a hit, and a ground out. That one is inside, and I believe he got hit. So another walk right there for Berkey
There's a
Powell
hit.
puts runners up on
And
first and
Berkey got
second.
2 runs out.
Yeah, and I mean, way to take one for the team right there. Able to get runners both on second and first now.
Satellites lead 10-6.
So that will bring in Callan Metheny. Again, has an RBI hit this game and 2 walks. That ball is hit, and does it get there? No, it gets caught, and that will end the inning. 1 run scored for the Satellites, gives them a 4-run cushion going to the bottom of the 6th.
Women's travel baseball team, Grady Scott, Frank Cheney, and Spencer Goebel for chasing foul balls today. Thanks, boys, and best of luck on your upcoming season. Let's give them a round of applause.
LaPorte's #1 used car dealer, All Star Autos, is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network. All Star Autos specializes in high quality used vehicles and excellent customer service. You could say it's out of this world. They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and stress-free.
Tonight he's been on base one way or another. Tonight he's been. He's got 2 walks.
So we're at the bottom of the 6th right now. Tommy Sullivan still in this ball game. Has allowed 6 runs in this ball game, but the offense for the Satellites have came to play, gives them a 4-run cushion so far. First pitch for Sullivan is up inside on for a ball. As Cam Shively up on the plate. Second pitch from Sullivan outside down low in for ball number 2.
Yeah, and Sullivan made quick work of the Pilgrims last inning, getting a 3 up, 3 down. Let's see if he can repeat that performance here in the 6th.
Second one got him, and that's a hit. That one lands it for a base hit, and it's deep left side. Shively gets holed up for first, and that'll run in for a base hit for Sullivan. So couldn't get the 3 up, 3 down this time as Shively gets onto first. And that'll bring up Ryan Jolly up to hit.
Yeah, and so that one catching a little bit too much of the plate as the leadoff will get on for the Pilgrims.
That one is a little too far to the left, called for ball number 1. Second pitch is hit foul for Jolly. Now bring the count up to 1-1. For Jolly, he does have a double in this game as well as a hit and a flyout. That one is called in for strike 1 and 2, the count.
Yeah, and Jolly is one of these hitters in this lineup that can really uh, put some power, to this ball.
That pitch from Sullivan too far inside, call for ball number 2. So Sullivan playing all 6 innings so far. Looking to get this inning done as well.
Yeah, and so now that decision by the South Central coach to leave Sullivan in, I mean, it was just a huge call, and it has panned out for him thus far.
That hit is up to the shortstop. Can he get the double play? They gets one. Here's the other one. And do they get it in time? Yes, they do. Oh, what a play. The double play right there from the satellites. Gets him up 2 down.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good play there by South Central. The first double play of the game, and what a time for it to come as we are now in the 6th inning, 2 down.
The defense right there locking up this Plymouth offense. That's grass up to Carr to Farrell. So what a play right there. Gives it one more out left to play with. Here's the pitch from Sullivan. That one is curved inside. Then they get it. That's a strike. So strike number 1 for Sullivan. Here's the second one. That one is caught swinging, and it lands toward the middle. That's another base hit for Plymouth. Great eye, great hands right there from that Plymouth player. The pitch was down low and able to hit that ball up and over the hands of Sullivan right through the middle for another base hit.
Yeah, the first batter of the inning, Sullivan left the pitch just a little bit too much over the plate, and it was kind of the same situation there as the second out of the inning for Plymouth.
That one curves inside the middle for strike number 1 as Matt Manzuk up on the plate. Has an RBI in this game is Matt Manzuk. Again, 2 outs on the board for Plymouth. Looking at a 4-run deficit, 10-6. Here's the second pitch from Sullivan. That one is hit up and foul from Manzuk. So that'll bring the count to 0-2. For Tommy Sullivan has 2 strikeouts. Those 2 came in the bottom of the 5th. Looking to get his 3rd strikeout right now. Here's the pitch. That one is up and popped up foul. And that one lands foul. That will bring Manzuk back to the plate.
Yeah, and that's another one of those pitches there by Sullivan that just wasn't able to hit his spot. But fortunately, that ball went foul.
So 0-2 the count still for Sullivan. Looking to get his 3rd strikeout and retire this inning. The bottom of the 5th was the first inning where Sullivan was able to shut them out. And here's the pitch. The ball is hit, and that one lands toward the right side for another foul ball. Looking to get another shutout inning in the bottom of the 6th. Again, this is
Yeah, and
Sullivan's first start in this season. As you were saying,
it
Dusty.
seemed like these Plymouth pitchers had Sullivan figured out as they were getting some good contact on Sullivan. Almost this entire game.
That one's
Just
ground to the second
until
base,
last
and it
inning.
gets it to the second. And there we go. Gets him out for the 3rd out of the inning, and another shutout inning for Sullivan, 10-6 as we approach the top of the 7th.
LaPorte's #1 used car dealer, All Star Autos, is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network. All Star Autos specializes in high quality used vehicles and excellent customer service. You could say it's out of this world. They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and stress-free as possible. You can view their inventory and apply for credit at allstarlaporte.com. They offer financial for everyone, have a large inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. So next time you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out All Star Autos, the regional new.
As we're set to start the top of the 7th inning, and right now the Satellites looking at a 4-run cushion, 10-6. And for the Pilgrims, they're looking to shut out the Satellites for the first time ever in this ball game, and hopefully try to hold it for a 4-run inning, or hopefully hold them to only a 10-6 game and try to come back in the bottom of the 7th. But as of now, looking to get a 1-2-3 inning against the Satellites.
Yeah, and I mean 6 runs there in the first 5 innings, but you know, or actually the first 4 innings, sorry. But since then, Sullivan has been great.
And the first one is swung and miss for Callum Metheny. Again, a 10-6 game in the top of the 7th. Here's the pitch from Berkey Pile, and that one is swung and missed once again. So 2 straight strikes for Berkey Pile. Looking to add one more to get his first strikeout. Oh, to the count. Here's the pitch, and that one is in and out for a ball. So 1-2 the count for Metheny. And here's the pitch from Berkey Pile. This one is well inside for another ball, the second ball of the count. Berkey Pile came in the game for Caleb Bowling, who came in for Ryan Jolly. So 3 pitchers used already in this game for the Plymouth Pilgrims. While for the Satellites, it's all been Tommy Sullivan riding the way. This pitch is hit, and that goes inside to the shortstop. Can he get it to first? And the pitch is up and out. So the first out of the inning for the Plymouth Pirates. And
Yeah, I
2
mean,
more to
looks
go.
like that one. I guess it barely got to the first baseman before Sullivan was able to leg it out. So that'll be the first out of the inning.
That will bring him Tyler Carr for his first plate appearance in this ballgame. First pitch is in and outside, called for a strike. Here's the second pitch, and that one is hit toward the left side. That one's up to the third baseman. A far throw. Can he get it there in time? And he does. What a play right there from the third baseman. Gets him out, and that's 2 up, 2 down for Berkey Pile.
Yeah, and Berkey has done a pretty good job, since coming in. But like you said, the Pilgrims, they've had three combined pitches in this game, while South Central, they did have an opportunity to, um, change pitchers, but instead they've been riding with Sullivan, and they get awarded for that.
And there we go. That ball is popped up and caught from the shortstop. That is Wolf. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Berkey Powell. That's the best outcome they could have asked for. As we go to the bottom of the seventh, and this is the last chance for the Plymouth Pirates to get back into this ball game or even take the lead. As we approach the bottom of the seventh, and this is the last inning so far for the game. Sullivan still in the ball game, has played all 7 innings, looking to get a complete game with the win right here. So up first for the Plymouth Pilgrims, you have number 15 Boston Berkey Pile up first. Here's the pitch from Sullivan. That one's outside, called in for a strike.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pitcher on pitcher to start off the bottom of the seventh, and let's just see if Sullivan can finish this one off.
Another strike right there for Sullivan, 0-2 the count. So ever since the bottom of the fifth, where Sullivan got the 1-2-3 inning, he's been dominant ever since. Has yet to let up another run after the fifth inning. Here's the pitch from Sullivan. That one is popped up into the air, sent toward the backside. Can the outfielders get there? And they do. So a fly out right there for the Satellites, unless the ball hit the ground first. Hard to see from our angle, but I believe the ball did land, so that'll be a base hit for Berkey Pile. Seemed like the
Yeah,
outfielder was going to get there, that is grass, but the ball kind of stopped going and fell straight down, and that's a base hit for Berkey Pile.
yeah, great contact there by Berkey Paul, and fortunately for him, that one is gonna drop.
That pitch is down low in for a ball as Caleb bowling up on the plate. Caleb Sullivan, or excuse me, Tommy Sullivan in this game has 2 strikeouts. The second pitch is down low for ball number 2. His third pitch is up outside and called for a strike. So 3-1 the count for Tommy Sullivan. Caleb Bowling has 4 innings pitched in this ballgame, has 2 strikeouts, and has allowed 3 hits. This one from Sullivan is caught down low for another ball. So a runner on first. Here's the pitch from Sullivan. That one's outside, and that's a walk. So that'll bring Berkey Powell up to first, and that'll bring Bowling up to second with no outs remaining. And The coach going up to the mound to talk with Sullivan, and this may be a pitching change very, very soon.
Yeah, it looks like this might be it for Sullivan, as Sullivan has had a sensational game. He's pitched 6 really good innings, and it looks like that is going to be it for him. Yeah, and I mean, you really got to tip your cap to Sullivan, after allowing 6 runs to score there in those first 4 innings. He came uh, with back to back innings where he was just, shutting the Pilgrims out. And I mean, he was almost able to finish the job, but unfortunately, there will be a pitching change.
Zach Honchar set to come in for Tommy Sullivan, and again, 6 inning pitched, has allowed a couple of hits, but so far has done a great job as after the 5th inning has completely shut out the Plymouth Pilgrims from getting another score in. Has 2 strikeouts in this ball game as Zach Honchar set to check back into this ball game. And for Honchar, this may be a redeeming moment for him, as in their last game they were up 5-3, but in those 2 innings that he pitched, has allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th, which ultimately tied the game up at 5. And in the bottom of the extra inning in the 8th, he let up the go-ahead run to give them the loss. So for Honchar, looking to save the Satellites this time around.
Yeah, and it'd be a little bit of redemption here for Hanchar, as of course, as you said, that heartbreaking loss there for South Central in their last game. But in this game, a little bit more of a cushion to pitch with. So let's see if Hanchar can finish this one off.
So again, Berkey Powell on second base right now, and Bowling on first with Preston Wolf up on the plate right now to hit. Again, no outs so far for the Plymouth Pilgrims. Has 2 runners up on the bases right now. Wolf looking to get the runs in for the Pilgrims. Here's the pitch from Honchar. That one is up and in, called in for a strike. What a pitch right there. I mean, that one kind of curved in the middle. Wolf looked like he was about to get hit with the pitch, but it suddenly turned toward the middle. And what a pitch right there. Second pitch this time goes outside, and that's called for a ball.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to see. So on both on first and second base is 2 pitchers for the Pilgrims. I mean, you don't really see that in the MLB or college baseball, but it's a little more common in high school baseball.
And that one gets hit, and just like that, the bases are loaded for Honchar. The pitch hit Wolf near the head area, and just like that, bases loaded, no one out. The game tying run up on the board, and that is Evan Geese. And for Geese, he already had a triple in this ball game, so he already has enough power to get the ball way down the field. And a grand slam here would tie up the ball game.
Yeah, and I mean, this inning started off where South Central is looking to put the Pilgrims away, but I mean, 3 consecutive batters have reached base now, so base is loaded, and as you said, the tying run is now at the plate.
That one called ball number 1. Second pitch from Honchar is in for a strike. So 1-1 to count for Honchar, trying to get the first out of the inning. Here's the pitch from Honchar. That one comes swinging, and that's a miss. So 1-2 to count for Honchar. Trying to get the job done against Evan Geese. And here's the pitch. Pitch is inside, called for a ball. Brings the count up to 2-2. 2 to the count. Here's the pitch. That one is up inside, and that brings it up to a full count 3-2.
Yeah, now here on a full count, I mean, you don't really want to give him a meatball down the middle, but you definitely want to pitch a strike here.
Here's the pitch. That one is in, and that's a strike. What a pitch right there from Honchar, and that picks up the first out of the inning.
Yeah, man, what a pitch there for Hanchar as he is able to get a huge out here in the bottom of the seventh for South Central.
Great composure right there, able to calm his nerves. Full count on the line, bases loaded. No outs remaining, or no outs on the board, and right there, just a beautiful ball right down the middle for a strike.
Yeah, and I
That'll
mean,
bring up Trey Delp onto the plate, as you were
yeah,
saying.
yeah, I mean, the momentum was kind of on the side of the Pilgrims at that point, but getting that out for Hanchar, South Central has taken a little bit of that momentum right back.
Delp tried swinging for that ball. That one is missed, and that's strike number one for Trey Delp. Again, one out on the board with bases loaded. Here's a pitch from Honchar. That one's in and called in for a ball, I believe. So 1-1 the count for Honchar. Here's the pitch. That one is up the middle, and that one is popped into the shortstop. That's in for a one. Can it get there for the second? And no signal yet. I believe it's safe. So they do get one out on the board, or I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it looks like he might have barely got in there, and very lucky there for the Pilgrims.
So the double play wasn't able to be converted, but they do get the out on second base. However, a score is in. So that brings the score up to 10-7. However, two outs on the board.
And right there, you'll trade an out for a run any day, as now two outs and just one out left for this Pilgrim team.
That that pitch is hit foul for Trey Hall. Still the game time run on the board 10-7. But again, two outs right now, bases or runners on each corner of the base. Contrary looking to get the job done. And here's the pitch. That one is in foul, so that's 0-2 the count.
Yeah, and baseball is kind of an interesting sport, because it seems like South Central kind of has this one locked up. But if you think about it, if a swing of the bat, and this ball game is tied.
Here's the pitch. That one is hit. That one is hit toward the right side. Can they get there and make the play? And he does, I believe. And yes, the right fielder makes the play. That is grass on the catch, and that will end the game 10-7. South Central wins the game on a fly out from grass, and that will improve the record to 3-1 on the year. And for the Plymouth Pilgrims, that will drop them to 0-2 to start out this year.
Yeah, and great job there by Hanchar, just keeping his composure, staying with his game. As of course a run did score, but with two outs, you just focus on the batter. He did right there, able to get the last out of the game, and South Central gets a really big win against Plymouth 10-7.
And what a game it was, a very high scoring game, 10-7, as we saw a lot of runs being put up in this ball game. And for you, Dusty, who would you say would be the player of the game for South Central?
I mean, it's kind of hard because there was a lot of really good batters for South Central in this one. Everybody was kind of contributing, but I mean, I would definitely have to go with Tommy Sullivan, as he did it with the bat, but not only that, he was really good on the mound, and yeah, he just had a terrific game. So, uh, my player of the game would be Tommy Sullivan.
Yeah, I do agree with you too. Tommy Sullivan did his thing on the mound as well. He did give up a couple of runs in the beginning, but after that fifth inning, he was able to really slow the game down for the Pilgrims. And on the batting side as well, he has two RBIs on the game. So shout out to Tommy Sullivan, had a great game for South Central as they get this game 10-7. and moved the record up to 3-1 on the year. But I believe that is all for us today. I'm Hansel Chu along with my partner, Dusty Carrasco.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go Tommy Selwyn.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Sullivan was just sensational. I think the internet cutting out a little bit there for Josh. But yeah, just a great game and a great broadcast.
Definitely, and I believe that is all we have for today. I'm Hansel Chu, along with Dusty Carrasco and Josh Reagan in the studio. And again, South Central moves up to 3-1 on the year. Plymouth drops down to 0-2, and that's all we have for us at Reagan's Corner Sports Network, where athletes shine first.